All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Master UnFranchise Owner Action Plan, Week 3, Master UFO, and of course, 53 Challenge. You guys couldn't be more excited to be hanging out with my good buddy, fellow UnFranchise owner, superstar, successful UnFranchise owner, that is Mr. Don Martin, tuning in live from the airport, making things happen for each and every one of us. Don, so happy to have you on the line, buddy.
I'm glad to be here, and I hope you guys can hear me, but this is my mobile office. You can see the plane in the background, and I'm excited to hang with you guys at least for the next half hour until my delayed plane does end up taking off. So it's all good. I'm excited to be here with you guys. 53 challenges, make it happen.
Fantastic. Well, go ahead and type in the chat where you guys are tuning in from. We love to always see all of the interaction within the chat as we're all hanging out here together this evening. And if you're on the Facebook, congratulations for being here. Excited that everyone has tuned in to learn how to take your business to the next level. Super excited about that. Let's take a look here. Oh, the chat is disabled. Oh, well, look at that. Let me see if there's a way for me to enable the chat while we're in the meeting. Sometimes we can do something like that, and sometimes we cannot. So that'll be an interesting fix if I can make that happen. Everybody's blowing up my phone now. Don, everybody's like, we can't type in the chat. Okay, I get it. It'll all be okay. Stuff happens. Just like the business, just like business in general, there's going to be challenges and obstacles that come in our path. And what we do is we go over, under, around, or through any obstacle that gets in our way, and we make stuff happen no matter what. And I do not see a way to, fix the chat feature at this point. And so therefore, we're just going to move on. We're just going to keep moving and shaking. So we have some incredible information to share with you guys here tonight. But before we get into all of that information, can you guys see John, can you see my PowerPoint, dude? Thumbs up on that.
Yes, sir. We got it.
All right. Perfect, man. Love it. So let's acknowledge some people. First and foremost, we're moving into week 3, like I mentioned. Tonight is all about exposing the business, the management performance compensation plan to personal prospects, growing your business into the ABC pattern. But the first thing we want to do is acknowledge people who hit the leaderboard this past week. And we'll start with the United States. And I'm just going to scroll through these quickly, you guys, but I'm going to hit every market as we roll this out. So we got the United States. Look at all these incredible people that are on the leaderboard this week. Congratulations. Way to make it happen. Canada, everyone up in Canada, moving and shaking. Then we move to Taiwan, totally crushing it, making things happen. Singapore, bringing the heat, having a ton of fun in the process. Way to go, you guys. We have Malaysia, outstanding job. And then, of course, Hong Kong. Beautiful, you guys. Love seeing everybody going for the weekly, leaderboard, because it doesn't matter what the overall is. Ultimately, in your mind and your business, every week you have a possibility of hitting the leaderboard. We move into Australia. Way to go. Those of you in Australia making things happen, congratulations. And then the United Kingdom, excellent job as well as we round this out. And then here we have our year-to-date leaderboard, and this is worldwide, folks. Those of you that are on the leaderboard, this is accumulation of every week leading up to right now. And we have people from many different countries on here. So congratulations to each and every one of you, many different markets. Staying focused, stay in the course as you grow a successful unfranchised business. And the first thing we want to talk about tonight is approaches and how to approach people, how to get into conversations with people, leading to showing them the business. And depending upon that person's background, occupation, do they work outside the home? Are they a stay-at-home parent? All of that plays a little bit into asking somebody to evaluate what it is that you're doing with your unfranchised business. And as you can see, there's many different approaches here. I'm not going to read them all off to you guys because you can read as we talk about this, but Don and I are going to talk about some of our favorite approaches though. And for me, my favorite approach is just, hey, how are you doing? Let's keep this thing simple. I just want to get in a conversation with somebody. How you doing? And what I'm looking for is most people are going to answer with good. And I'll ask just good. And I want to just get in conversation with people. But if somebody, as a matter of fact, the gentleman about a week and a half ago at the Freedom Boat Club down Trinity Iron members at the boat club down here in Florida. And the gentleman who was the dock master, hey, how you doing? He said, I'm doing awesome. And he smiled really big. And I thought, oh my gosh, I got a hot one. I got someone who's already a leader up here, maybe just hasn't found the right opportunity. All great. And now I'm going to build that relationship really quickly and find out how he treats me. And he treated me amazing. And so, of course, I said, hey, is this all you're doing? And he's, yeah, this is all I'm doing. But I'm going to college right now for business and marketing. And I said, really? Go figure. And he said, go figure. What do you mean? I said, well, I've got it. I've got my own business. I have an unfranchise. He's like, on what? You see how this goes, folks? You just got to learn to just have fun with this whole thing. But the reality is as I built a relationship with this guy, and I'm asking him some enrolling questions, answer, stop, provide information, I should say, and then stop talking. I don't keep talking. You just stop talking. You're approaching somebody, provide some information, and then stop talking. This guy kept asking me questions. His name's John. And then he met me at Starbucks, shared a little bit about the business, and the rest is history. Is that HPP last night, you guys? We got things rolling out. So Don, how about you, buddy? What's your favorite approach, man?
And I got to tell you, no challenges, only solutions. I got the buds connected, and you guys probably don't hear the background anymore because I just kept working on it, and that's what it's all about. By the way, just a little tip for you guys, because you can't use the chat because the chat's disabled or we can't figure it out, make the best of it. In those type of situations, guess what? Now you're not distracted. You're not going to be worried about what you want to say in chat. Focus, lay down the framework, and make it happen. So for me, my favorite approach for a plan showing is the evaluation approach, the standard evaluation approach, to just get people to sit down and for the purpose of networking. I love for the purpose of networking and just to plant some seeds. I want to plant some seeds. I tell people that. I want to plant some seeds in your mind. I want you to understand enough about what I do so that you can comfortably give me referrals. And who knows, you might see something in this that you like too, but that's not the intent of the meeting for me. I just want you to understand enough because you might be able to recommend the right people and change their life through you because I have something that's going to be a benefit of somebody. And simultaneously, by the way, I'd like to support you in the same way, especially for those people who have businesses. And, I'm down here with a bunch of veterans. Well, I'm in Houston. I'm on my connecting flight back when I was in Kansas City and supporting a lot of veterans. And I had the opportunity to speak to a lot of them because I wanted to be able to help them in some way, whether it's network their existing business and help veterans, enhance their existing business, or if they need something to add to it, provide the solution. So that's how I like to book them and keep it nice and simple and light. The key is light. Meet people where they're at and then just roll on through it without any pressure.
I absolutely love that. One other approach that I like to use too is with your connections and our experience. And so especially if you're newer folks and maybe you don't have the posture yet, any of us new people, no problem with our experience. And so then you're edifying the team right out of the gate. So you don't have to have the answer for everything, but ultimately with their connections, our experience, let's see how we can help each other out and create a win-win situation. Hey, let's get together. It's a buddy of yours. Hey, I want to share with you something I've been learning about, making some supplemental income, leveraging the internet. Great. It's an incredible app. This incredible app that I've been learning about. It can be anything. I'd like an incredible product that I've been learning about. If you're approaching them on the business, I want to share some information about a red hot internet business that I've been learning about or that I own, whichever position that you're in. and let's get together for a cup of coffee. If it's your great friend, if I was approaching Don or he was approaching me, I know he'd say the same thing. Ultimately, it's like, let's get together for a cup of coffee. I'll bring my great idea. You bring yours, whatever you got is a great, what's going on awesome in your life. And let's compare and let's see how, how are we going to help each other out? How can we create a win-win? And ultimately, we know what's going to happen when we get together. Most people don't have that next great idea, but we do. And now they're naturally attracted to the vision of where we're headed and saying, man, I think I'm not saying it out loud, maybe like I don't have a next great idea, but in their mind, they're thinking, man, I really don't have the next great idea. And even if they love what they do, it's like, hey, you just keep doing what you do, but do something on the side. What's your side hustle in order to generate and then also position yourself to maybe have a little extra time in your life outside of what you're presently doing in the future. That's also critical as well. So as you do that, as we're approaching people, as we're asking them to evaluate, we'll see where it goes from there. And then, of course, these are some key points that Don was alluding to, of course, in the evaluation approach. And always make sure you're edifying. You're edifying the company, you're edifying products, but most importantly, if you're edifying somebody who's meeting with you, if somebody edifies one of us, a teammate who's getting ready to help you in this evaluation, I would love for you to meet, fill in the blank, whoever it might be. I would love for you to meet Don Martin, absolutely incredible entrepreneur, used to own his own construction business, roofing business, and then decided to become an internet entrepreneur and position himself with this internet thing since it's kind of red hot. I'm going to edify that. So now the person says, man, I can't wait to learn from him. Regardless of the outcome, they want to come learn from this person who's also helping mentor you. And that's really the key as we flow through that. And then, of course, ways to share the business. Don, what's your favorite way to share the business? When you meet with somebody for that first appointment, is there a go-to method that you like to use?
It's between two. I love to use the PowerPoint, because it's systemized, it's standardized. I will, when it's a first time meeting, I will kind of simplify it down, meaning I'll have some slides that I might hide. I just want to get through the model, but just cover the highlights and the features and the numbers in the business plan. That's the one thing. I don't start showing the plan personally until I can show them everything. I don't show them anything until I can show them everything, because we need to show people what makes us different. But I'll do the PowerPoint, or I'll sit down with a pen and pad and I'll walk and talk people through a business plan with a pen and pad, just like business people do all the time in the business world. They'll sit down, they'll throw ideas around, and I'll sketch it out on a piece of a paper and pad, because I can show as much or as little as I want with the pen and pad, so I can kind of relate to them and relate to their kind of center of influence in their world with the business plan, and connect it back to them a little bit better, instead of just having a generic overview that can apply to everybody, but might not be as impactful directly with everybody. I love my favorite way of all is using a pen and pad, but there's sometimes that you just need to use the PowerPoint no matter what. And the way I look at it, Cullen, is if I start the first time with a pen and pad, I have to follow up and use the PowerPoint. If I start with the PowerPoint, I have to follow up and using the pen and pad to clarify and really hit the points necessary, and so they can see it a multitude of different ways, and simultaneously they can bring people along with them, because they're going to see it more than once anyway.
Absolutely love that. One of the number one things to remember when you're meeting with people is, no matter what tool in the toolbox you're using, it can be anything on the screen, it can be a video, it can be any one of these, but remember one critical element: they're always buying you. They're always buying the person that is with you. So they're buying the two of you. So if they're buying your business partner and they're the leader, okay, and you're being mentored by them, you still better be on the edge of your seat. You better be excited. You better have some enthusiasm about where we are headed as a group. And then therefore, they start to buy into the whole. They start to buy into the team aspect, because anybody feeling like they have to do a business alone, okay, very intimidating. Let's not intimidate them. Let's put them in a position where mentally they know that it's teamwork and no teammate left behind. And we're going to work in combinations in order to make things happen. So I think that's super important for everybody to understand. No matter what tool you use, they're always buying you. And so same thing with setting appointments, by the way.
Hey, Cullen,
Go ahead, Don.
that being said, I just want to make a point too, that there's something that comes in between that, between the approach and the plan showing itself, and that is rapport. That is building that relationship, building some rapport and comfort and trust with the person that you're sitting with. If you don't have that rapport, don't slam the plan down their throat in any methodology. You need to create a little bit of relationship. You need to hear a little bit about them, tell them a little bit about yourself. Because in reality, that's what a part one of the business really is to build that relationship and trust. And then once you have that, if you have time, you can take it to the business plan. If you don't, get back with them and show them the whole business plan. But the most important part is that relationship, that comfort, that trust, that relationship. Just to throw it out there, as often as you can in person, the better. It's infinitely easier when you're sitting in front of people face to face to shake their hand, for them to feel your energy. So if they're within an hour to an hour and a half, go sit with them, guys. The world's back open again. It's not closed anymore. Go sit with them. It's so much more effective, and you don't have to go through as many people to find great quality people.
Man, I'm so glad you brought that up. Because that's exactly where I was going to go. So it's so funny. Don and I are always like right in tune, man. The bottom line is there's many ways to do things, but if you're going to ask us and you're going to ask many other leaders, what is the number one way when we're getting to the business system? That doesn't mean that you can't shift gears in the intro and then move towards products only, because that made the most sense in that person's situation. No problem. But if we're talking about getting to the MPCP, we're getting to the business system. We want to get somebody to see the differences between us and, let's say, an MLM or a franchise and all of this. Bottom line, number one, by far best way to expose the business is in person. Number two would be online. And especially online's great at a distance, no doubt about it. That's awesome. Get an intro going in this and that. But you'll be able to, number three, plug them into the GMTSS, plug them into a system or structure where they can sit across from people, heart to heart. That's what people are buying, folks. I'm telling you all day long. And Don and I have had many conversations about this because we were doing online meetings before we were required to do them because of the shutdown. So we seen what the ratios were before, when people had a choice. Then when we didn't have a choice, we made the best of what we had, but now we have a choice again. And we're telling you, by far, number one, heart to heart, getting them to. Last night, I can tell you right now that we had HPP over here, which is kind of like a grand opening business presentation. And we had like 12 people there, Don. And I think out of 12 people, I had 4 guests, but a number of the newer people that brought guests even, and my guest that was there, ultimately those the people that have been in, they've only been unfranchised owners for like 4 or 5 months, but they've never been to anything in person. And their testimonials on our products, though, off the hook, unbelievable. See, so the energy in that room when we got done, nobody jetted out the door. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? That's how you know people. It's like, ooh, man, it was so exciting. And for leaders, if you kind of got stuck in the online mode, you get back in person like last night, and Don and I and everything we got going on in person, you get re-energized, man. You say, man, I've been missing this. I forgot what it was all about, because 2 years is a long time. I don't care who you are, to be online. So super critical point. Make sure you guys take note on that.
And there's ancillary benefits. Yeah, there's ancillary benefits too. There's like what I like to call the other layers of the in-person. There's ancillary benefits, like other people meeting each other, like hearing people's testimonials, having an opportunity to talk about the testimonials. There's so many ancillary benefits that we don't realize that we missed until we got them back by being in all these in-person meetings. And I tell you what the biggest one is. I get re-energized myself. When I'm talking in front of a computer, I have to do it. It's going to be a part of our business no matter what. But when I have a choice to do one or the other, I'm getting back in person. You know why? Because it re-energizes me. It re-energizes me. I'm not worn out because I'm not pouring out energy and getting none back. Because, energy doesn't transfer technology. Energy transfers in the human experience. So you're not getting any back when it's online. It's so much harder to stay connected. So anyway, I'm getting a little deep on you guys, but just trust us when I say get in person. It's a game changer for people, and you won't have to put up with or deal with as much rejection because you won't have to go through as many plan showings in order to get conversions.
Such great points again. Nailing it. You know, at the end of the day, guys, lead with the heart, man. Everything else will fall into place, get re-energized and make it happen. So great. Part two is, of course, kind of piggybacking on what Don and I were talking about, which is match and mirror. Okay. Bring the plan alive. If you notice, when you hear JR talking about sharing the business, he doesn't just share content. It's not about every little detail. He goofs on people. He jokes, with people. People get done and you go, man, I don't understand all this, but I really like JR. And you got to ask yourself, when people are meeting with you at the end of that appointment, are they like, wow, I really like you. I really want to spend more time with you and your team, you and your mentor, whatever it is. That's the number one goal, is for people to say, you know what, I would join a team in a heartbeat that has a heartbeat. You get what I'm throwing down on that. So bottom line, you got to see this thing 3 times. We say that to let people off the hook. You say, hey, you got to see this 3 times. Why? Because every time you see it, you start to understand more about it, but then there's no major decision to make. So there's no pressure in the whole situation, which means when they lead to somebody, they're already thinking in their mind, Don and Cullen and you are going to say the same thing. You need to see it 3 times at least. See, so now it puts it into a process of duplication to make sure that nobody feels like you've seen it once and we're in a pressure cooker of having to make that decision. And then we're booking them in to the next step, which is absolutely critical. So hey, Don, let's talk about the advantages to the MPCP. You know, when people look at our business system and they're evaluating it and they don't know maybe what they don't know, and even if they think they know what something is, they don't know, because JR revolutionized how people get paid with the management performance compensation plan, with immediate retail profits, volume search to infinity, volume accrues. We got a 365-day accrual. That is unbelievable. Volume and people placement, putting people under people in the business, volume calculated weekly on multiple business centers. And then let me hit one more, Don. I'm going to throw it back to you, buddy. So ability to earn more than your senior partner. Business is a willable asset. I'm telling Trinity and I know Don, we both of our families, Don and Lisa, Trinity. I mean, we have a whole litter of kids, man. I mean, that is reason enough to want to own a business that is a willable asset. Absolutely amazing. Organizational structure creates common vested economic interest. You're only building 2 sales teams, again, down to infinity, and grow your business globally. All of these are huge. And one thing I love about drawing the business out, and I know Don believes this as well, is when you draw it out and you really practice some of these benefits, you add layers of armor to your bulletproof vest. And you have to go from no vest to building that vest one step at a time. And a piece of that is the practice and the studying we do. But then the second step is the action we take. Because when you take the action and all of a sudden you start speaking some of the stuff you've been practicing, you'd be like, whoa, where did that come from, Don? I don't even know. It's like, oh no, because you're listening to audios, you're watching videos, and you're practicing. And then that equals progress. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I mean, you're making some incredible important points. And one of the things that I think is key is that we are different. We are very, very, very different from anything else out there. And everyone that you talk to, or the vast majority of people, let's just say 90+% of people, are going to have preconceived notions when they sit with you, no matter what you say, and no matter what terms you use, and no matter what lingo the unfranchised lingo or whatever, they're going to have preconceived notions. And when you don't need to justify it yourself, let the model do the selling. The compensation plan differentiates itself as long as you know how to point out those differentiation factors. So when you are showing a plan with a PowerPoint, I know what Cullen does is he uses the pen part of the PowerPoint, like the little stylus where you can draw on your screen to show this. I love doing that. And then when you're drawing out with a pen and pad, I actually show the horizontal versus vertical next to each other so they can see this is what most people think we are. This is probably what you thought we are, because this is what I thought we were. And I only realized what we were because they showed me these 4 key points. And that is and the drawing out the vertical build where everybody gets stacked out two verticals, the infinite search for volume where there's no percentage in levels, the accrual until you get paid where there's no end of month, and then the placement of people and volume down at the bottom, where everything starts from the bottom up at 100% ratio instead of top down. It's a game changer, and they're the big ones. Yes, we have all those other benefits too, but the keys, which no other model in the world even comes close to, that makes this a living, because the concepts that JR created to fix the problems in the industry of network marketing created the solution for the entire industry. And that's really what it's all about.
Absolutely. And as you guys can see by looking at this slide, I don't always show this slide, or I don't always draw this slide, but I will say in many cases, when I use the word always, there are many times I'm talking in themes, meaning I want to draw people's attention to something that they already understand in their life. And so when you think in terms of that, one theme I wanted to point out is that human nature, like Don was just saying, human nature is people look for commonalities, meaning what do I already understand to be true? What do I understand to be false? Then they start to compare in their mind. Once we get them to agree with us, we say, wouldn't it be awesome if you took all these people that are in competition of each other, getting paid on levels and percentages, or the lowest person making the least amount per hour, trying to get to the top to make the most per hour? What if we stacked them vertically and 100% flew up? I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? Just something simple, folks. And they go, yeah, that would be unbelievable. I said, why doesn't everybody do that? And they're like, well, I don't know. Do you remember that class in school? And they say, no, I don't remember that class in junior high or high school or college. And I'm like, yeah, me neither. I don't remember anything being taught like this until I met JR and Lauren Reitinger with the UnFranchise business, who opened my eyes. It was like, and it was like a mic drop. And I was like, why doesn't everybody do this? You know, bottom line, guys, that's the passion. That's the excitement. That's knowing that we have the best vehicle. It's like, bottom line, if you can't do this, don't try nothing else, because in these other models, it's going to take way more sales, way more people within the organizational structure, building it in with, than it would take vertically. So therefore, that was my attitude. Well, if I can't do this one, then I just want to try nothing else. And I've always said that to people every time I've shared this business system for the past 23 years. So be thinking in terms of that as you're sharing the business system itself and drawing it out, or even if you use a PowerPoint, stop for a minute, make sure they're connecting. Don't get too wordy and just like ram through a bunch of slides. Make sure you're connecting with people. Make sure that they're with you, tracking, and then therefore you can hit a question or you can nail something. And if you're nervous about it, don't be nervous, because people love transparency. Meaning, if you don't have the answer, it's awesome to say, that's a great question. I can get you in touch with somebody who has the answer to that in the follow-up appointment. See how simple that is? I don't have to be expert. What if they ask you about, they ask you a question about isotonics, because that's something you specialize in? Awesome. You answer the question and I got this. But what if they ask you about motives, or they ask you about, TLS or something that you're not the expert in? That's a great question. That's not a division I specialize in, but I've got some connections where I can introduce you to some people, and they're like, yeah, no problem. They love that you didn't make up an answer. You were just fully transparent, but you own what you do know, but you don't have to know everything, but you do need to know and believe in yourself. I got to know myself. I got to believe in myself. And the bigger the why, the easier the how. That's ultimately what we're looking for. So as we round this out, folks, you always need to be booking the next step. The best time to sell an educational, inspirational ticket is when you show somebody the business system. As I'm meeting with somebody, already planting seeds with somebody. Hey, we got an incredible training coming up. I don't know about you, but I put a huge value on continuing education. But how do I value the amount that I would invest in a ticket to an event to learn more? Well, it all revolves around return on investment. Wouldn't you agree with me? And they say, yeah, that makes sense. And I said, yeah. So would I invest $30 to go to a seminar all day on a Saturday if I thought it was going to make me more valuable in my job or make me better in the business that I own, or a great communicator in the relationships that I have in my life? See, I'm going to hit some points that every single person I'm meeting with is going to connect with them. Now, if they don't own their own business, but they're an employee working for someone else, awesome. I'm just going to relate it to the job. If it made you more valuable at the job that you're in and positioned you to get a raise at that job because of the value that you bring to that business, would that be worth a Saturday and $200? And they say, oh yeah, that would be amazing. And I say, well, that's what we provide in our system. Because within the UnFranchise business system and within our global meeting training seminar system, our GMTSS, that's what we teach, is how to have a great attitude, how to set goals, how to sell products and services, which is basically believing in yourself in order to move great products and services, whether it's through our business or a company somebody works for. Either way, we're going to hit people with that. Okay. How to expand distribution, how to lead to the right people, how to recognize the right people, how to put people through a trial run in our business, and how to follow up, how to show people that we care. That's the basic 5. Well, that should be the basic 5 of everybody's life when we think about adding value to other people's lives. Okay. And then we're going to set up a time to meet with some of their people. Now, when I'm sharing this with you, I'm sure you were probably thinking of a few people that you think would be dynamite at what I just shared with you, whether you did this or not. And I'm nodding my head. Critical. Nod your head and smile. And they say, yeah, I was thinking of some people. Same thing with this John, the prospect that I had at the business presentation last night at the house. I'm nodding my head. And he says, as a matter of fact, like you told me, I mentioned just a little bit to this gentleman the other day. And he said, wow, he's going to college for marketing. I mentioned I didn't get too wordy. Like you told me, I said exactly what you told me to say. And this guy's interested. He wants to meet you for a cup of coffee. Fantastic. Let's call him right now. Let's set the appointment. Now we're going to go meet this guy for coffee. You see, that's how you get to people's people. The only way to get to people's people, folks, is if they trust and believe in us. Notice I said us. It's me, it's Trinity as a group, but it's also the team. Who am I working with? If they trust us and they trust our approach, and that we're not looking to just sign anybody up, we're looking for the right people. And if somebody's not the right person, it's awesome. No worries. Just be a customer, which is free. If they believe that, why wouldn't they introduce me to some other people? Let's go lead to the most ambitious people that you know. And/or we're going to book a follow-up. Let's say they're not ready to lead me to the people yet. But remember this, I'm always trying to sell a ticket. I'm always getting them set up on my UnFranchise marketing app. Okay, folks, I'm showing the person the UnFranchise marketing app, and then I send them an invitation right on the spot. Send them the invitation, and then they say, oh, I just got it. I said, go ahead and click on it. They click on it. They check out the isotonics daily essential packets that I just sent them to view from my app. They click on it. They view it. It pops up on my phone. John just viewed the daily essential kit sample package. Then I show him. Now, somebody in their 20s, I've been focused on what JR has been telling us to do, by the way. He told us to go out and identify the whole field, folks, go out and identify people who are the age of when you started your business, because you got common ground with things they're going through, even in today's world, that they can relate with and you can relate with. And I said, man, you know what? That's brilliant. So here I am talking to John, who's in his 20s. And then I'm talking about this app that's 100% relative to today's world and what he would be interested in. And I showed him, I said, look, it showed me that you looked at that. His mind was blown. He said, that is awesome. So it even tracks. I said, it goes a step further. I'm going to send you the sample pack. Then it's going to tell me when it shipped. Then it's going to tell me when you should have received it. And then I'm just going to keep following up with you, because it doesn't let me drop the ball, which is that bottom paragraph right there, folks, which is follow up. Follow up. Because why? Because we care. That's what follow-up demonstrates to people that you're meeting with. If you don't follow up, it means that, well, I was hoping that you were just going to quickly buy something from me, a product or a service or the business, and you did it. And so therefore, in many people's minds, we just got busy. Well, the problem is the person you approach, they don't view it as you just got busy. They viewed it as, this isn't a priority for you. You're not in it to win it. You're dipping your toe in the water and saying, I'm trying. They want to follow somebody who is go now, committed in that 10 hours a week to check off each box in, the accountability report that we're turning in every week for our master UnFranchise owner and 53 challenge. And therefore in it to win it. That's all they want. It's not about perfection. They don't expect you to be perfect, but they want to, don't tell me you care. Show me you care. That's what the follow-up demonstrates. So sometimes we need to believe more in people before they believe in themselves in order to make things happen. Guys, I hope that you got a few nuggets out of tonight on some of the top strategies that Don and I use as we're approaching people, but then getting to the business. And what do we focus on when we get to the business and we get to the MPCP? We talk about the features and benefits and get common ground with that person based on their background, based on their job, their education, based on a business they run, whatever their background is, get common ground and then share what makes us unique, get them excited. You should be excited. And then move them forward, get them to a training, get them to meet other people. And then when they meet other people, the magic will happen, folks. So next week, we have week 4, which is all about building a base 10 of customers and creating new BV sales. And I hope that's a huge priority for each and every one of you, because it needs to be, because those great customers also lead to more customers, but also they lead to retail profit. They lead to BV in order to generate commission checks, but they also will lead to somebody who loves our products and wants to become an UnFranchise owner later. So next week is featuring Lisa Martin and Lee Rader, 2 amazing UnFranchise owners who are moving and shaking, making things happen. So you guys are going to have a blast. Make sure you tune in next Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, for their training. It's going to be outstanding. And thank you guys for joining us tonight. Okay. Do something positive for your business every single day. Be consistently consistent. And remember, stay focused and stay the course. Love you guys.